Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer joining us at the 2019 National Football League Scouting Combine. Hello, Coach.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Pretty well. How are things going for you so far?
It's been good. Bob Hagan, who's standing right there, making sure I don't say anything bad.
Define bad.
Just
like overshare?
Like what I usually think.
Well, you lied to us last year. It was brilliant.
What did I say?
We went down the road of Kirk Cousins, and you really talked about the importance of the solidification of a team and moving forward off an NFC title game season, maybe knowing all along that you guys were interested in a new quarterback. So very well played.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that happens. At this time, we usually catch up on your off-season hunting. Have you had some hunting time?
No, I haven't, but I did get a couple of the box blinds.
What?
Yeah, Banks Blinds makes these hunting blinds.
Yeah.
And so Mitch Banks lives in Minnesota. He brought one down to the ranch for me, so I got a couple of them down there. And so now I can stay nice and warm. I didn't shoot anything, though.
No, but have you tried and there just hasn't been anything to shoot, or you've tried and missed?
This is probably a good story.
He doesn't miss.
My daughter was in the blind with me
at
one time, and it was during bow season, and so a buck walked out and walked right by, and she was looking the other way, I was looking this way, and she says, "Oh my gosh, there's a big one." And I said, "Well, no," she said, "a huge one." I said, "Well, it's not huge, but it's big enough. Give me my gun."
Yeah.
And she said, "No, you're not shooting that thing. You're not shooting that."
Yeah, that's Bambi.
Yeah. And then she said, "Well, your gun's over there." I said, "I meant my bow." So.
Yeah. So then she screamed, it would run.
Well, by that time it was gone.
Yeah, she was throwing rocks at it to get it out of there.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to go.
I was going to say that's the end of that, right?
Yeah,
that experiment's over.
So when you're here hunting for rookies to take in the draft, the meetings that you guys have when you have those private meetings and stuff, have they already started, and how important are they when you have like one-on-one?
Yeah, they have started. We've had 2 nights of them. Tonight's going to be a big night. We have a ton of them tonight, ton of them tomorrow. It's good. You get a chance to meet them, get a little bit of the personality, ask them some questions. You can kind of semi-tell how intelligent he is. With some of the guys, it's easier, obviously. It's a part of the process and a good part as well.
Yeah.
Part of that process, every evaluator wants to say, "I want to find football guys," right? And it's a great term to say, "I want to find a football guy." In those meetings, is there something that you're looking for in the way that they answer, the things that they say, I like where his football mind is at? Because most of the time these guys are coming in with canned answers.
Yeah.
Very, very coached up.
Yep.
What are you looking for to kind of like decipher through all that noise?
Well, a little bit of it is, you kind of talk to them, all right, give me your daily schedule throughout the day in college. What did you do on a Wednesday? When you go back to your dorm or your apartment or whatever, what did you do at night? Those kind of things. And then you put the film on and you watch the film, and like we had a guy in last night, and he said, my left foot I didn't get it in the right place here on this particular play, and, I should have saw the guy coming from the offside and all these different things. And so
wow, you're talking to an offensive lineman.
You like that?
Whoa, yes.
Well,
sorry, don't record that.
That's the only crew that's in right now.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yes, that's awesome.
That's fantastic. Have there been guys that have just failed epically in these interviews where you're asking questions and they just flounder? And I'm not asking for a name, but can you tell us some of the guys that have just gone up in flames during this?
Yeah, you know what? There was a guy that I won't say what year, but he was awful in the interview. A really, really, really good player.
Really?
Awful in the interview. And he turned out to be a really good player.
Really?
Yeah.
It turned out to be a really good player anyway.
Yeah.
More with Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer from the Indianapolis Scouting Combine around the corner. The radio shows are courtesy of Whiting Clinic, LASIK, and Cataract. We'll talk current Vikings football and much more next. Mike Zimmer, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, on the 9 to noon radio show from Indianapolis at the National Football League Scouting Combine. Plenty of current and/or potential upcoming news with the Minnesota Vikings, with free agency, their current players, the draft, and everything. But one thing I want to ask you on the radio is working with Gary Kubiak to this stage. Yeah, how has it been for you?
It has been outstanding, unbelievable. I've been so impressed with the way that Kevin Stefanski's been running the room, the comments that Gary makes about a lot of the things that went on with the system and the way that they've done things with that offense, and just hearing him talk about, we saw this and we ran this play, we game plan this way, we do this way. I mean, it's been outstanding. I love football, so it's great for me to hear him sit and talk about, Bill Walsh installed it this way, and then
the history of things,
the history of how it all evolved. It's unbelievable, and it's like, I could go talk about the history of how the 4-3 was, or the double A's or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I'm able to ask him a lot of questions and things that hurts the defense, and, the way I see it. And it's been, I could not be more happy at this point in time than I ever have been.
Sweet.
I've complimented you on this before. There are a lot of coaches that are intimidated to bring in other coaches on their staff that have a lot of experience, and they feel threatened by that. I think we've had some of those coaches here in Minnesota before. You've never been that guy. You've always had all these assistants around you that have got a lot of experience and bring a lot of years to the table. And I think that's the sign of somebody that's got confidence in what you're doing and isn't, wants to bring in just the best people that they've got.
Yeah,
that they can.
I want to bring in the best guys I possibly can. Part of this, the staff thing is about camaraderie, being able to communicate together, being on the same page. Gary has zero ego. I mean, he is the most down to earth guy. And all the guys are in there like that. But even the communication with Rick Dennison, talking about protections, talking about techniques with the offensive line, game plans on the running game. This has been as good as I could ever imagine it to this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow up a Charge compliment with another compliment, and the fact that when you're talking about what Kubiak is bringing, and you talk about the history, and it seems like you're in there absorbing this information as much as anybody else, and it's nice to hear that a coach of your experience and everything that you've been through, and everybody sees you as this defensive genius, that there's still a lot of ways for you to even get more knowledgeable on systems and to understand football a little bit more. And we like to think, as every head coach is like, all right, they know what they're doing. They've seen every system. They've seen every X's and O's and how things complement each other. But yet here you are still kind of like, an eager young learner, just like, oh my gosh, tell me more how this works.
Well, it helps me as well. And, you've seen all these offenses on, for 25 years or whatever I've been doing it. You've seen all the offenses, and you think you know exactly what they're being told, but unless you're sitting in that room, you don't really know. And the same thing with all the teams that have seen our defense. They they watch defense on tape, but they really don't know exactly what I'm telling them. And so for me, it helps me defensively. It helps me as a head coach, just being able to sit in there and we talk, and it's football talk. It's the best thing ever. If we had some beer in there, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, if you're at the ranch with the wood-burning fire and some red wine, that's nirvana.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
That's great.
Congratulations on the team picking up your option. Now, the downside of that is you got to do this again next year. You're going to have to be right back here doing this again.
Well, I hope
it's worth it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I love this football team. I love the organization. The owners have been great to me. The fans have been outstanding. I really appreciate the players, because they're really the ones that have helped me to get to this point. And I hope it's 8 more years. We'll just skip the media part. Is that good?
Yeah.
At this time last year, you made a very bold statement about Laquan Treadwell. You basically said this is a put up or shut up year for Laquan. Did he put up or did he shut up last year?
Well, I do think he improved. Where he goes from here is still up to him. I did get some good news about him the other day. He's trying a different program here in this off season, and hopefully that helps him even more. I think he improved a lot. He may not have gotten as many catches as we had hoped, but and sometimes when you get a new set of eyes, like Gary's talked about him several times, and said, I see this guy with these kind of strengths and this this kind of ability, and this is how I kind of visualize using him. So there's a good chance that he could have an even better year this year.
So Rick Dennison comes in as a very experienced offensive line coach, a lot of experience, and a big relationship with Kubiak. What, as we are at the combine right now, and you're getting to know him, what do you think, and what's some insights on the type of player that he's looking for in the combine out of these college kids?
Well, we have asked him those things, because we all want to be on the same page with that. But going back a little bit, the communication between Gary, Rick, Brian Periani, and those guys have been terminology-wise the exact same. So it's been really seamless that way. And then Kevin has been in a lot of this system in the past with some of the guys that he's been with. That part has been great too, and that takes a long time, the terminology.
Yeah.
But going back to your question, obviously every offensive line coach wants smart guys. They want athletic guys that have balance, guys that are balanced in there so they don't get, one side to the other and then the guy beats them. So, and everybody wants tough, gritty guys, So that's kind of really what we're looking for.
Out of this class, do you see a lot of tough, gritty guys, or is there just a couple that kind of rise to the top?
No, it's the finish that they're all looking for. Not necessarily stick their chest out and punch a guy or whatever.
Right.
It's, but yeah, this is a good class. I think I've watched way too many offensive linemen, but so far this offseason. But this guy, there's been a lot of good ones, and guys that are smart, guys that are tough, guys that are athletic, and there's some different flavors in there. Some are more road grader types and gap schemes we call them, and some are more zone schemes. And so, you just find the one that you feel like fits you.
Yeah. Is this one of the deeper defensive line / defensive tackle, specifically 3 technique, the Sheldon Richardson spot, the Gerald McCoy, Aaron Donald, guys like that? Is this as deep as you've seen in quite some time?
Yeah, this is a good group of defensive linemen as well, and there's going to be a lot of them taken in the first round, probably.
Like really high, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all through there, but it's a deep group, and hopefully, we can find some of those guys too.
How far down the road are you on what's next with Anthony Barr?
Well, we kind of know Anthony and where we want to be with him, and I love Anthony. Right? He's my first draft pick ever as a head coach. He's a lot like me in that, we were sitting in my office one day and I said, you're kind of hard to talk to. Because he doesn't say much. And he says, so are you. So we have a really good relationship. And really, we're going to monitor the market. We'd love to get him back. Yeah. It really depends on where the money goes.
Yeah.
How do you evaluate your quarterback's performance last year?
I think he had a good year. We obviously need to win more games. He had some turnovers earlier in the season, but if you look at the first half of the season, he played outstanding. The second half of the season, maybe there were some things he could have done better. Mm-hmm. But I believe this: every free agent that I've ever had since I've been coaching, he's always played much, much better his second year. And part of the reason is they got to find a place to live. They got to find they got to find out where the bathroom is in the building. They got to find out how to run this, different terminology, new players.
Yeah. He had 2 offensive coordinators in the same season.
Yeah. I mean, and this terminology that we're using is exactly the same as he grew up with, and so that's going to help him. The kid is a bright, very, very accurate player. And Kubiak thinks he's outstanding. Yeah. And so we're all in with Kirk, and I honestly believe he's going to have a heck of a year.
Yeah.
I got 2 quick follow-ups on that. Number one, Paul and I speculated at the end of the year he seemed to kind of see ghosts a little bit, and he didn't seem to have the same confidence at the end of the year. Did you see it the same way that we did in those final few games?
I think he got fooled a little bit on a couple coverages. Chicago does a really good job of disguising their coverages, and then they got good rushers.
Yeah.
And then who was the other team that really?
Patriots, maybe?
Yeah, it could have been. It was somebody. They started giving us a bunch of junky defense. The Patriots did.
Yeah.
And we probably didn't handle that as well. Kirk and I have corresponded about, maybe seeing some of those things earlier in the preseason training camp and OTAs, so that he can get a better feel for some of those things.
One quickie. You don't have a second. You have two quarterbacks now. Trevor Siemian's headed to free agency. May or may not be back with the team. What are your thoughts on the depth under Kirk?
Well, we're going to look for another quarterback. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to salary cap issues and who we can afford. I mean, we know who we kind of want back and but we have to monitor the market and see where all this goes.
Do you would rather a veteran free agent, or do you want to bring in a rookie to?
Well, I think if we can find the right veteran, that position is so unique in that the fact that you have to, you're also there to help the guy. It's not just the best player, but always, and it's someone that has to be in your system. I do think that we'll be looking for a rookie as well, and so we'll just kind of have to see how this goes.
Ben,
let's slide out of the offense just a little bit. Kyle Rudolph, his name has come up quite a bit, I think, this offseason, maybe for better or worse. But how do you evaluate his season and then also the depth behind him? How did Conklin do? How do you see David Morgan fitting into everything? What about the tight end position?
Yeah, Kyle's a great guy, hard worker, great team person. He does a lot of really good things, catches the ball extremely well. Again, I think in this system, in the way that Kubiak has had these tight ends in the past, they've caught a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And even with Kirk in Washington, so this might be a much better situation for Kyle than maybe it was last year. And then Conklin for a rookie improved quite a bit. He did a nice job with. For a guy that played a wide out basically in college, coming in there and starting to be physical and more of a blocking guy. And then David Morgan, he was out for a few weeks. He had the knee or whatever it was. But David's a very good blocker. We're always looking to improve every position, and so if there's a tight end that shows up, there's athletic.
There's some good tight ends in this class.
Bunch of good tight ends in this group, and so if it happens to come that way and it swings our way, then I'm sure we'll throw that tag at him.
The improvement of Anthony Harris and Mackenzie Alexander, specifically Mackenzie, do you expect even another step from those guys next year?
Yeah, well, I hope so. Mackenzie really kind of did a 180 as far as the way he went about his business, about becoming a professional. In his rookie year, he was pretty much, hey, I don't want to know anything. I want to do this, and I think I'm this, and I'm that, and he has really turned the corner on that aspect. I think first when he first got here, he thought the nickelback was a downgrade. He didn't understand that he was going to play
like one of the most important positions on defense.
75% of the plays and all this other stuff. So now he's still got room for improvement. But he did quite a bit. And Anthony's an extremely smart kid that he just goes in there and makes plays.
Yeah. Could you draft right now if you had to? At 18?
Could I?
Yeah.
No.
No, still much to go in the process?
No.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
Hey, what about the golf tournament?
What do you mean?
You never even mention it anymore.
It's on the fan 15 times a day with promotions, but tell us about it. Bear Path in May.
Bear Path in May.
Give it to us.
We're going to have
Mike Zimmer Foundation, if you want to Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, May 15th. 13th, thank you, which is a Monday.
Right, 13th. On Monday, we're going to have some great prizes. We're going to have an outstanding, it's
unbelievable.
It's for the kids. We've got some great sponsors. So it's really good. So it'll be a lot of fun.
So basically, the concern there was worried that your daughters would listen to this and text you and say 2 segments and nothing on the golf tournament, Dad.
Yeah, she would have.
Best thing to do is Google Mike Zimmer Foundation golf tournament and go from there. Right?
You got it.
You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mike Zimmer, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, back at the Combine after this.